Why is grief so confusing and we have such a hard time figuring it out? One minute you're absolutely crying. One minute you're breaking down. The next minute you feel nothing. You're snapping at someone who didn't even say anything, but just because they're in the room and they're right in front of you, you just snap their head off. Then, in the very next minute, after you've just snapped their head off, you're staring off into space. There is a distinct look that a griever does, and most of the time it's them just staring off into space. You are not unstable. You're not broken. You are grieving, my friends. You're grieving. And let's talk about why this feels so confusing. Most of the time, we can't really talk about it because, one, a lot of the information out there is just not even correct. It's not correct information that we've been told. We've been lied to about grief. We've been told we're going to feel like this for the rest of our lives. We've been told to just give it time. And we've tried all of that, and none of that is working. Why is it so confusing? It's because you're not just grieving. You're not just crying. You're falling apart. You're falling apart in tears. And the next minute, you start staring out the window at absolutely nothing. And let me tell you something else. If you walk up to that griever and you ask them what they were thinking about, they're going to tell you they don't know. Thank you, Miss Sarah. They are going to tell you that they don't know. Why? Because the griever is out of the moment. The griever is possibly going through a memory of theirs. They're going through a memory of theirs, and they're just trying to understand what is going on. And as they go into the memory, they literally go into that memory and they start reliving that memory. Hear me out. It's like this. You go into the memory of the two of you fishing. Your brain is trying to grab onto everything that is missing, everything that you wish was different, everything that you wish was more. Your brain is trying to grab onto it. It's absolutely there trying to figure it out. You're amazing, Miss Sarah. Thank you. I appreciate it. Then suddenly, you're irritated. You start snapping at people. You're furious. You're furious that someone didn't text you back. Thank you for the beautiful gifts. Hey, Aida. You're furious that someone didn't text you back. This happens a lot, but most of the times I'm able to walk you through it. Guilt sets in. Guilt is the definition of guilt is with intent to deceive or do harm. What is the guilt that's showing up for you? That's mostly where I take you. What is this guilt and why is it showing up? Most times it's not actually guilt, it's actually regret. But we work through that. And maybe you're like so many other women that I work with. You had this thought, what is wrong with me? Why can't I get this figured out? What is wrong with me? Why can't I grieve? And let me tell you the truth. There is nothing wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with you. You are grieving. You're not losing your mind. You're not weak. You're not broken. You are grieving. And grief is chaos. It causes chaos. It brings chaos. I say this thing inside of the grief school all the time, and I'll say it again. Grief is a full body experience. You're going to feel it in your entire body. Your eyes hurt. Your brain is working overtime. You want to talk about this. Your heart is absolutely broken. Your joints hurt. They can't figure out whether you're coming or going. Your stomach hurts. Grief affects your entire body, not just your heart. Your nervous system is out of control. This is what's causing the reacting to everything, is this, the nervous system. You're not weak. You're not broken. You're grieving. And your grief is chaotic. Can you talk about how relationships with surviving parents change after one parent dies? Yes, but I'm teaching a class right now, so as soon as I'm done. Thank you, Lazy Path. Grief hits your brain. It hits your heart. It affects your sleep. It affects your energy, your memory, your sense of self. It scrambles things. It fogs things. It confuses everything. You're over here going, I don't understand. Why can't I just get this figured out? Why don't I know what's going on right now? And you are confused beyond belief. Because that's exactly what it was supposed to do. That's what it's designed to do. So it's going to hit your brain. It's going to affect your sleep. It's going to affect your energy. Right? Your memory. It's going to affect your heart. Your sense of self. Did I get them all? It's going to cause fog in your brain. Your stomach is going to be upset. Your joints are going to hurt. Here's the other thing. Here's the most important thing I want you to understand about this. All of this is happening at one time. Yes, Deborah, it's coming from the nervous system. It is absolutely coming from the nervous system. And these two are connected right here, the brain and the nervous system. It confuses everything. The grief confuses everything. So today I want to walk you through why grief is so confusing. What actually happens inside your brain and body when you're grieving. And most importantly, what you can do about it. And if by the end of this you feel seen, I want you to take one small step with me. I want you to take a step and try to understand that you're not doing this alone. Instead, come into the grief school where I can support you. There's nothing wrong with needing help with your grief. What's wrong is you pretending that you don't need help. What's wrong is you pretending like you're okay. You pretending like you're okay for everybody else around you. So let's dive in. Grief feels confusing. It's not just the emotion. It's a system-wide response. Your brain, your sleep, your energy, your memory, your heart, yourself, your head. I said your brain, but I'm going to add your head. Your joints, your stomach is upset, your nervous system, everything is affected. Most people think grief is just sadness. Most people think grief just happens right here. I'm going to put an arrow so you know what I'm talking about. Now, this is mostly where I'm working at. I also teach you about this. I teach you about this, but this is mostly where we're doing the work. We're mostly going after this. Most people think grief is just sadness. A feeling, a big emotion. I'm going to be sad. But that's not what it is. It's your entire system. Your entire emotional, physical, psychological, even your spiritual system. Trying to make a sense of something that doesn't make sense at all. And I'm going to say that again. Grief is your entire system. Your emotional system, your physical system, your psychological system, even your spiritual system. Trying to make sense of something that absolutely doesn't make sense. Why did this happen to me? How could this happen to me? I just spoke to him yesterday. How did this happen? When you feel like you're spiraling, when you feel scattered, when your reactions don't match the moment, it's not because you're overreacting or being irrational. It's because grief is irrational. It doesn't make sense. It's because your entire internal world has been disrupted. You're not just mourning the person who died. And that's the thing I need you guys to understand. You're not just mourning the identity you held in that relationship. I'm sorry, you are mourning the identity that you held in that relationship, not just the person. You're not just mourning the person who died. You are also mourning the identity you held. You're mourning the role you played. You're mourning the routines you guys had, the things that you shared, the sound of their voice. You're mourning your sense of safety, your sense of security, your sense of your future. You're mourning your trust in how this life actually works. Grief is not just a feeling. Okay, here's my first question. After I've said all of this, all of the places that you're grieving, and all the places that you feel grief, what part of yourself or your life feel like they've fallen apart since your loss? I'm talking about all grief, lazy pause, all grief. Grief is grief is grief. I'm talking about all grief. I'm talking about the umbrella that's under all grief. Every kind of grief there is. There are 47 or more known losses that cause grieving experiences. What part of yourself or your life feel like they've fallen apart since the grief, since the loss? Hey, Suzanne. She said full body chaos in her brain. My whole body, my whole life. My health in general, says Tracy. Irene says mental health. Debbie says my sense of stability. Cheryl says it's been 16 months and I'm scared. Grievers often say things like, why do I keep forgetting things? My memory is shot. I feel like I'm walking around in a fog. I have to keep reading that sentence over and over again. I can't remember anything even 2 seconds later. That's the brain. And it's real. The griever's brain is real. The griever's brain is 100% real. It's the fog. I'm going to put it out here so you guys can see it. Two things are happening in the brain. One, the brain goes into this fog to protect itself. The griever's brain, every brain is doing this, but let's say our average thoughts are 40 to 60,000 thoughts a day. The griever's brain is already doing that because everybody's brain is doing this. But then we're having memories. I don't know, 15 to 20,000. I don't think it's that many, but I'm over exaggerating this. You got thoughts going on. You got memories going on. You've got grief business going on. planning the funeral, answering the calls, taking the questions, doing all the stuff. I'm already having 40 to 60,000 thoughts a day. The number one thought I'm having is why. Immediately after you're lost, the brain takes over. Immediately after you're lost, the brain is going to take over. It's its job, and it's supposed to take over. Every memory you have of your person in the days when we were young, a lot of us were young, we would go to the library at school, and they taught us the Dewey Decimal System at school. They taught us the Dewey Decimal System. And within the Dewey Decimal System, we would go to school, and there would be a big brown cabinet, and there were drawers. And we would go and we would pull out these drawers, just like I did here. And there would be all of these cards in the drawer. And each card could tell you where to go find the book in the library. Now, I can't repeat how the Dewey Decimal System works, but I know it had dots and a lot of numbers in it. The brain is reviewing your relationship with your person. The minute you find out about the loss, your brain opens the drawer, and it starts to look through the drawer for all of the memories. This is the time we went to the dental office, and we got there late, and they didn't want to see us, and my mom was yelling and screaming. And then the lady got so sad, she let us in. It looks at that memory. It remembers that memory. Hear me out. Your brain is remembering the memory. It pulls that card out, and it remembers the memory. When you see the griever doing this, they're staring off into space. They don't look like they're even thinking of anything. You know, you want to go up to them and say, hey, penny for your thought. They are thinking of something. They're going through a memory. And once it looks at that memory for 2 seconds, it drops that memory. Then it goes through the drawer, the Dewey Decimal System, and it pulls out the next memory. And it may only stay there for a second. But what it is searching for, it is searching for the meaning of your relationship, the value of that relationship, the love of that relationship, the hate of that relationship. It's searching for everything that's missing, everything you didn't get a chance to say, everything you wished you had a chance to say. It's searching for all of that. The brain is doing its job. Now, once you go through that memory, once the brain sends you down into that memory, most times those memories send an emotion. Okay, catch this. It's the memory going through the thoughts. It's the brain going through the thoughts and the memory, and then it sends an emotion. It sends an emotion to your heart. I'm going to say sad. It sends the emotion of sad to your heart. So the brain searches all of its filing cabinet. It takes you to this memory. And then as you're in the memory, you fall on sad. Sad. Oh my gosh. I didn't get a chance to tell her. Fill in the blank. And that memory falls on sad. My friends, I want you to see this. This is the grief. That's the grief. This is the grief brain. This is the memory. This is the broken heart. This is the business of grief that you're taking care of. But over here, this emotion, that's the grief. That's what you're feeling. That's why your brain searches the memory. Your brain searches the memory. It goes through the memory. The emotion hits your heart, and that's when you start to cry. Now, you may cry for 3 minutes. You may cry for 5 minutes. You may cry for 40 minutes. Each time you do this, it's going to be different because your memory is going to be different. The energy you put to that is going to be different. And a lot of times, this memory and this grief emotion will send you to the next memory. Two weeks ago, my uncle fell. My 93-year-old uncle fell. His wife found him in the bathroom. And it's been 2 weeks. And she took him to the hospital. There wasn't really sure there were anything, but then he was kind of out of it. Long story short, all my family was going to visit him. He's 93 years old. He's my mom's brother. His name is Preston. Uncle Preston. He passed away last night. I've been monitoring the situation with everybody. I've been really monitoring the situation. Talking to my sister, who's a nurse practitioner. She went there this weekend. My sister Charlene was there. My mom's other sister, the two living sisters are there. Sandra and Larita. And they were all calling me last night, and I didn't see the phone. Thank you. I was so exhausted last night. But I already knew. I spoke to his grandchildren, who I'm really close to. I sent them love yesterday. His daughter, I spoke to his 2 daughters. He passed away at 8 o'clock last night. I found out this morning at 5 a.m. Immediately, my brain went through memories. Immediately, my brain went through memories of him. Friends, when I tell you this is what happens, this is absolutely what happens. Thank you. Thank you, Debbie. Do you guys hear me? Some of you have heard this story about my aunt that took me to buy a dress. My mother had a hysterectomy, and I had an aunt who, I don't talk about it in lives that much because I really do share this story pretty deeply in my class. And I had an aunt that took me shopping because I was going to be in a wedding, but my mama had a hysterectomy, so she had another aunt take me shopping. And there's a whole story that I share in the class. That was his son's wedding. It was his son's wedding. And I was 16 years old, and we were going to this wedding, and I was going to be in the wedding, and she had to get me the dress. That's the story with her. But with him, we're driving to San Antonio, and this is the story my brain fell on. We're driving to San Antonio, and when he got stopped at a gas station, all the car doors open, and there were like, I don't know, gnats or bugs or something. Thank you, Tracy. And they were flying around. They were all getting in the car. Well, I had a scarf, and I was waving the scarf because I didn't want the bugs to get in front of my face. And while I was waving the scarf, I hit him in the face. And then he scolded me. But he's like, Sharon, they're just bugs. He wasn't very tall. He was very sweet. He was very religious. He's very religious. He lived in Los Angeles. And he would always talk to me about God. And I went to church with him a couple times, and he was so happy. And one time he called me on the phone. I remember us having a very long phone call. But I want to tell you that I just thought he was just such a gentle spirit. He was such a gentle spirit. And Uncle Preston always carried TikToks. He carried TikToks in his pocket, white TikToks every single day. And he carried a notepad, the little notepads, the little spiral notepads with a pen. And you would tell him stuff, and he would take out a notepad and he would write that down because he wanted to remember it. Or if you would tell him something, he'd ask you how to spell it, and he would write it down. Did I say TikToks or Tic Tacs? Tic Tacs. Did I say TikToks? And I guess I'm so used to saying TikToks. And hold on. Um, just the best uncle in the world. And he just seemed like he got, I don't know, shorter. Okay. I sent him so this morning I got up. I'm trying to get a text message. I want to show you guys. So this morning I got up and I don't know why I didn't think of sending the text message last week. I just didn't. I wish I would have done it. I really wish I would have done it, but thank you. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Aida. Thank you, everyone. So I sent him a text message this morning and I said, I will forever regret not sending this text message last week. Because had I sent it last week, they could have read it, but I never thought about it. I just said, I just truly, I want you to know I love you. I've been so honored to be on this journey with you. I'm so glad that I got to be your niece. And thank you for loving me. And thank you for the Tic Tacs. Love, Sharon. So I just sent it this morning to his cell phone. And I wish I would have thought about it last week, but I didn't. So next week at some point, I'm going to be leaving for a couple of days to go to a funeral because I'm really close to his daughters and I want to be there for them. But I wanted to share this with you guys that my brain immediately went into what's the ticket, right? The grief business. I looked up what are the tickets at right now. Then my brain went to that memory. So I had the memory of him. And then I went to the heart. And I cried a few tears. I'm not a big crier, but I cried a few tears this morning. And I went on my walk and I just breathed in the energy of him. The grief brain is real. And it's not a personal flaw. It's your nervous system on overload. And I'm telling you guys, I've seen this over and over again. When Donovan died, thank you guys for allowing me to share Uncle Preston with you. When Donovan died, we were in Texas. We got on a plane together to go back to LA. I was sitting, like here, and Erica was in the seat, just one seat, one row behind me, but on the end. And when I turned around, I just saw her like she was just doing this. Her brain was rushing through the memories. She couldn't even talk. And there were multiple times in the next few weeks that she would go there, just this staring off into space. When you're grieving, the brain diverts the energy away from the higher executive functions, like concentrating, like problem solving. Instead, it starts focusing on survival. And one of the ways that it focuses on survival is changing the subject. That's why sometimes even simple tasks feel impossible. This is why you walk in the room and forget why you're there. Why you can't make decisions. While reading, planning, organizing feel 10 times harder. You're not lazy. You're not stupid. Grief doesn't make you stupid. You're not failing. Your brain is doing its job and trying to protect you. And while it's doing its job and trying to protect you, it makes you second guess everything about yourself. It slows things down to the magnitude of what you lost so that the magnitude of what you lost doesn't come crashing in all at once. That's why I teach this. I teach the full body experience in the grief school. Because once you understand that grief is happening at every level, mental, emotional, and physical, you can stop blaming yourself for the chaos. So here's the questions, my love. What's the one thing you've been beating yourself up about? What's the one thing that you're beating yourself up about that might actually be a normal part of grief? What's the one thing you keep saying over and over again? Man, I can't remember anything. Man, I'm so slow. Why can't I get this? Why don't I understand this? Why do I have to keep reading this over and over again? It's emotional whiplash, my friends. You can be angry one second, heartbroken the next, and feel numb the very next day. You can cry uncontrollably over a diaper commercial or a pair of shoes that you see in the hall closet. You can feel jealous. You can feel guilty. You can feel relieved. You can feel devastated, all in the same hour. And all of that is normal because your grief does not go in a straight line. It's all over the place. There are no neat, clean, little 5 stages of grief that you're going to go through. They just don't exist. There's no step-by-step formula. Until now. Until now, when you see how I've put it together. I've cracked the code on this grief thing, friends. You are not going crazy. You are experiencing emotional fragmentation, a shattered internal world trying to pick everything up piece by piece. A broken heart, completely shattered. And you're over here trying to figure out what that is. This one little dot right here, when the heart's completely shattered. First, you have to understand how to even allow these emotions to show up for you. You have to allow those emotions, the ones that are showing up for you. When your body knows something your brain is still trying to deny, your heart absolutely knows this has happened, but your brain is still in denial. Your heart is broken, but your mind is trying to figure it out. Your heart is broken, but your mind is asking you why. It's like you're going like this. Emotional whiplash. You've always been taught that grief should be a steady cry, get help, and then find peace. And it should be that simple. But here's the truth. It's jagged. It's looping. It's relentless. And it is a process that your heart has to go through. But first, you've got to understand the process. That's why it feels so confusing. Question number 3. When was the last time you caught yourself feeling one thing and then the total opposite just a moment later? You come out feeling sad, and then the next thing you know, you're absolutely breaking down. Suzanne said, there are days when I feel like Sybil. Yes. Friends, when I tell you your nervous system is doing its job, even if it feels like it's failing you, I promise you it's doing the right thing. Because it all thinks it's supposed to be doing this to protect you. It thinks it's supposed to be protecting you. And it feels like it is. But in actuality, it actually sometimes makes it feel like it's worse. Here's something we don't talk about a lot. Grief activities, right? We don't talk about grief activities. Things that we do within our grief. We eat, we drink, we sleep. We pull back. And those are all in an attempt to make something feel normal again. We just want to feel normal again. If I eat these cookies, I'll feel normal again. If I sleep, then I don't have to think about it. If I go to the movies with these friends and I do these activities while I'm grieving, I will feel better. But all you did was activate your stress response because you're trying to stay away from the grief. You're doing everything you can to stay away from this grief. Your body enters the flight or fight or freeze mode all at once. You're like, oh my gosh, why did I agree to go to this movie? I can't do this. I can't watch this movie. I need to go home. Nobody knows how bad I'm feeling. I got to get out of here. We do things that we think are going to make us feel better, and they actually make us feel worse. And then 10 minutes later, you feel exhausted. Even though you slept 10 hours last night, you're like, I'm so tired. I can't do this. And then at 3 a.m., you wake up and you're totally wired. You're totally wired. You get up and then you start thinking you can't breathe. I can't breathe. You pass his picture and you can't breathe. It reminds you of him. Your nervous system is screaming inside of you. Your nervous system is screaming inside of you. Something is not right. We are not safe. We've got to get out of here. I've got to get out of this body. I've got to get out of this grieving experience. But here's the key, friends, and I want you to hear me when I say this, and I'm going to say it out loud. Grief is not something your body knows how to solve. There's no predator for you to run from. There's no fire to put out. But your alarm system keeps ringing. That's why we get the anxiety. That's why we get the panic. That's why the brain fog. And that's why the heaviness. Erica and I are going back to the grief intensive weekends, and we spend a long time on this. We talk about this. We teach this. Friends, you cannot heal grief in the same environment that your body thinks it perceives as something is wrong or dangerous. You've got to calm that down. And the one way to calm that down is to start talking about your experience, talking about what happened, talking about what it felt like to see his body laying on the table. I'm going to call it out. Talking about what it felt like having the doctor say that thing to you, hearing the doctor say those words. What did that feel like? Thank you, Aida. You're amazing. What did it feel like walking in that room? What did it feel like looking at those caskets? Having to pick the casket. And then add this onto it. Add this part onto it. You're surrounded by people who don't understand, who keep telling you to be strong, who telling you to move on, who are telling you to stay positive. And all you feel is not safe. I'm not safe. I'm not safe here. I can't do this. I'm not safe. Friends, what signal is your body sending you right now? What do you think it would take for you to feel safe again? Flaw Girl said, Suzanne, I feel like Sybil every single day. The world does not understand grief. The world does not understand grief. The world does not understand grief. And they sure as heck don't understand your grief. The world doesn't understand grief. And they do even less to understand your grief. The thing that really blows my mind is that we are all going to go through multiple experiences throughout our life. We are all going to go through multiple experiences throughout our life. I lost my grandparents. I lost my Aunt Carol. I lost my cousin. I lost my uncle. All when I was young. All under 18. No, not all under 18. All under 23. Lost them all. Austin, Donovan, Sharon, my dad. We're going to go through multiple grieving experiences throughout our life. All of us. Death is not the only grief we will experience. We will experience divorce, breakup of a romantic relationship, foreclosure, bankruptcy, losing our job, getting laid off, breakup of a friendship. I can go on and on. There are 47 of them. We all have multiple grieving experiences. We all go through grief multiple times throughout our life. Yet it is the most taboo subject of society. Why is that? Make that make sense. The world doesn't understand your grief because it doesn't want to. It doesn't want to understand sad. It doesn't want to talk about sad. The world wants you to hide this pain. The world wants you back to normal as quickly as possible. The world tells you to move on, stay busy, and focus on the positive, and you will feel better. I promise you, if you just focus on the positive, you will feel better. So then you start questioning yourself. Oh my gosh, should I have been through this already? Should I move on? Am I doing this wrong? Should I be over this by now? Oh my gosh, maybe I'm not doing this right. Why do I feel worse instead of better? Why am I not getting better? Because no one showed you how. No one has shown you how to grieve until now. No one has showed you and told you that you're not crazy, that you're absolutely going through this, that you absolutely feel this. No one has showed you how to grieve. Why do I feel worse some days and better the others? Because you weren't taught how to grieve. No one is giving you a map. And the people around you are just as lost as you. The people around you are just as lost as you. That's why I named this the Grief School. Because you deserve better. I sure as hell deserve better. You deserve tools. You deserve language. You deserve space. You deserve support. You deserve clarity. You deserve a place to come and talk about it and just lay it. You don't deserve confusion and a bunch of bullshit talk. My name is Sharon Brubaker. I'm the owner of the Grief School. The Grief School is a private university where healing begins. If you're new to my page, click the link in my bio and click on the link that says click here for hope. There you can find out so many things about us. What lies have you been told about grief? What lies have you been told about grief? Specifically, like what it's supposed to look like. Just hang on. You'll feel better. Keep busy. He wouldn't want you to feel this way. You know he's in a better place. God will never give you more than you can handle. Time will make it easier. She said, time will make it easier. It just takes time. That one makes me furious, EK says. When one door closes, oh, tell. That's terrible. When one door closes, God will open another. Think about that. Oh, my heart to yours, Kel. There are plenty of fish in the sea. Other people will love you. And even though that may be true, that is true. Absolutely true. Even though that is true, I want my person back. They belong with me. I want it to be this person. You're so strong. You can get through this. Destiny says, why? Rosa, they said, they don't cry. But not helpful when you're in pain and you just want them. Hope says, be brave. Be brave. That sounds like you got to punch them right here. Aida says, be strong. Are you okay? How goes the grief battle? How's it going? Which they don't ask because they do. Most times they don't really want to hear. You don't need to be fixed, friends. You need to feel. Fix is not a thing. You are not broken. You don't need to be fixed. This is what I thought I needed to do for Erica. I thought I needed to come in and fix her. I thought she was broken and it was my job to fix her. But the truth was, we just needed to feel. We needed to feel every emotion, every pain that grief is throwing to us. It's the part no one tells you. It's the hugest part of the puzzle that needs to be solved. It's really you feeling. Destiny says someone told her you can't wallow in pain, and she was only 1 week in. And the pain, the real pain, hadn't even hit yet. I'm sorry, I got to keep reading this. It's a blessing he's out of pain. How are you doing? Someone told me to take prescription pills to get my quality of life back. They're in a better place. So many people don't know what to say, and you're right. Okay, thank you. So when we think that the griever needs to be fixed, we say the comments that you guys are just threw me, because those comments are designed to go to the brain. When I say to you, you know they're in a better place, boom, right here. They're in a better place. At least they're not suffering anymore, right here. They don't even realize they're trying to fix you, and they're making comments that are designed to go straight to your brain. Those are fix-it comments. Friends, every one of the ones you told me are all fix-it comments. You don't need to wallow in this pain. It's a blessing he's out of pain. You just need to move on. How are you doing? Are you okay? Be strong. Be brave. All fix-it comments that are designed to go to the brain. And the truth is, you need to feel. Right? Feel comments sound like this. Oh, Destiny, my heart to yours. I can't even begin to imagine what this is like for you. Do you want to talk about it? How's the grief going? Friends, listen to that. It is the most simple sentence, and it hits it right in the heart. How's the grief going? How's your grief going? Hey girl, how you doing? I haven't seen you since Bob died. How's the grief going? I don't ask people, how are you doing in the moment? What do you mean you don't ask them how they're doing in the moment? In the grief moment? I like hitting it straight on. Hey girl, how's it going? When was the last time you cried? Just asking that lets them know you're going right to the feels, you're going right to the heart, and then they'll start talking about it. How's the grief going? Is it hard? What has surprised you the most about the grief? What day has been the hardest so far? Go to the heart. Talk to the heart. Talk to the heart of the matter. I bet you, I guarantee you, most of you would feel so much better if people talk to the heart of the matter. Because if we talked to the heart of the matter, you would then start talking about the grief. And when you start to talk about the grief, you blow off steam, which is pressure that you're blowing off of the heart. It relieves the pressure. But they have to do one thing. They have to show up as a heart with ears. See what I have here? There's no mouth. They have to be willing to listen with respect, without judgment, without trying to fix this, without trying to move this. They just have to listen. I'm not a grief counselor, Ann. I'm a grief specialist. 18 years. Austin died 18 years ago. I'm sorry, Austin died 19 years ago, and I've been teaching for 18 years. They have to be willing to listen to what you're saying without judgment, without trying to fix it, without trying to change it. And most of them can't do that. They just can't. People ask me how I am. Am I okay? I say I'm not. I miss my best friend so much. And then they don't know what to say next. Gabby says, people say to me, I don't mean to make you cry. And she replied, I want to say to them, I cry every day. Say it, Gabby. Start saying it. You're not making me cry. I cry every day. I miss him so much. I cry all the time. Trust me, you asking me a question about him is not making me cry. I'm crying because I'm crying. And that's one of the things they don't want to speak to the heart of the matter because they're afraid they're going to make you cry. That's the absolute truth. They absolutely think they're going to make you cry. And they don't want to do that. So they avoid having that conversation. The part that no one tells you is that grief isn't a puzzle to be solved. It's a reality. It's a reality of life. It's a reality of life for every single one of us, not just you, not just now. We are all going to have multiple experiences throughout our life, multiple grieving experiences. But we're taught to analyze it. We're taught to logic our way through it. We're taught to read every book out there, listen to the podcast, distract ourselves, organize our thoughts, clean our house, go scrub the floor. Don't talk about it because it might rub off on me. And any of those things I just said can be helpful for a moment. And if they lead you deeper into your feelings and you're allowed to feel those feelings, is when you're going to get some of the relief. But for most of us, it leads us deeper into avoiding. I'm sorry, friends. You cannot intellectualize this enough, intellectualize yourself enough out of this. You can't think your way out of this heartbreak. The only way through it is to feel it. You can't just ignore it. You've got to grieve your way through it. And that's the hard part. But it's also the freeing part. Because once you stop fighting the confusion, once you stop fighting to take control of the chaos, you can start the healing. The healing will really happen. And that's one of the things that we do in Grief Study Hall. Every week I have a class called Grief Study Hall. My business is the Grief School. And so I have Study Hall. Study Hall is where we come together to study out grief. I teach a lesson in Grief Study Hall. It's my way of giving back to the community. Women come into the study hall and we talk about our grief. Because if you don't have somebody who's ready, willing, and able and to listen, we come together as a community, and that's where we do this. We give voice to the messy. We give voice to the contradictory. We give voice to the unfinished parts of grief. You don't have to be healed to show up. You just have to be real. What part of your grief have you been trying to solve on your own? What part of your grief have you been trying to solve that might actually need to be felt in your heart instead of being fixed? I'm going to give you the map that's going to lead to this. So, Grief Study Hall, the Grief School, Grief Study Hall. We are also doing something. Today is night 2 of the emotional reset. It starts at 7 p.m. It starts exactly 1 hour from now. We're going to be talking about the brain and the emotions. She says her thought, Hope says, my thought is, what do I do with myself now that I'm alone? People go silent after I mention Ian, after I say I'm not okay. Fly Girl, my question to you is, who doesn't go silent? Because that's your person. Rohit, does my Gianna love me? What's the first word? I don't know that. Hope, what do you do? What are the things that you do? Answer the question. What do I do with myself now that I'm alone? Take off the now that I'm alone. I want you to answer the question, what do I do with myself? It's not that you're not alone. I'm not ignoring that. I just want to know how would you answer the question, what do I do with myself? It's terrifying to become someone new. You didn't sign up for this. You didn't sign up for the after version. Who I am after. You want your old life back. You want your life with them back. The one that made sense. But that life is gone. And what's ahead of you now isn't clear. It's not clear. Miss Hope, that's exactly what we're talking about. You get to decide what healing looks like for you. You get to decide what peace looks like for you. You get to decide what you want to carry forward with you, what you're ready to lay down, what you're ready to change. How do I reconcile the loss of who I was? You reconcile the loss of who you were if you've absolutely gone after what you've lost. That comes first. It always comes first. I have changed. Gabby, yes. We will all change. We change 100%. One of the major things that I have coming up is the Forever Changed Grief Intensive Weekend. It's where we spend 4 days together, absolutely going through the messy middle of the grief. Not pretending that it's okay, but learning how to build a life that includes the pain, but does not define you. It's not a retreat, it's a transformation. It's when you're ready to come out of the fog so you don't have to wait one more day. I'm going to be talking more about the Grief Intensive Weekend starting on Saturday. I have more things to say about that. I'm out of it today. I got to figure out this next step for my uncle, and I thank you all for holding my space. If you feel that life has hit you right in the gut, if it helps you to put the name on the confusion, if it reminds you that you're not crazy, I want to remind you that you're not broken. I want to remind you that you're not weak. I want to remind you that you're grieving. And your next step is really simple. Go to the link in the bio. Follow me here. Go to the link in the bio. Click on the link that says click here for hope. Download the Griever's Guide. Join the Grief Study Hall. Join the Book of Face. I guess that's what they call it. Join the Book of Face. That's where you'll see all of these videos in there. You don't have to keep wandering around in this grief, not figuring out a way out, walking around in a circle. You're allowed to be confused. You're allowed to be stuck. You're allowed to cry, but you don't have to stay there. I promise you. I promise you, you don't have to stay there. Friends, I'll see you inside of the grief school anytime. All right. Tonight is the emotional reset. It's day 2. Leanne says he would be so sad if he can see what you've become. Oh, people say that. Oh, my heart to you, Leanne. Suzanne says if they start acknowledging your grief, they also have to acknowledge that the grief can touch them. And I think a lot of them are absolutely freaked out that the grief might get on them. Debbie says, yes, Hope. What do I do with myself now? Because nothing appeals to me. Debbie and I were just talking about this yesterday. Hopefully I will work on peace after the trial my daughter hits and the hit and run driver. 3 years on April 14th, 2022. Gabby, you don't have to wait on the healing. You can start doing little bits and pieces of it now by talking about it, sharing about it. And I want you to understand, anybody who's going through this, when there's a trial involved, it is a whole second layer to the grief. I hear that. I see you. And I understand that. It is a whole entirely second layer to the grief. But don't let the trial go by and complete and you not do your work. Because you got to do both, Miss Gabby. It's going to be grieving the loss and the trial and what has happened to you. My heart to yours, my friend. Okay, friends, I'm going to jump off. I want to let you know tonight is the emotional reset night 2. It's the encore. We're going to be talking about, let's see, I got it all out here. Emotional awareness, grief emotions, what they are, feelings, what are feelings, an event. What is a grief event? Grief, childhood. We talked about that the other day. Emotional childhood, being stuck in emotional childhood, and emotional awareness. I think I said that one already. Going deeper into thoughts, what they are, and how they affect the grief. You can sign up here in the link in the bio, or you can go into the on social media, hit the link that says Beacons AI, the Grief School. It's $19 to show up. You will get all of last week's videos, plus this week's videos, plus the portal. All right? Okay, friends, I got to get ready to jump on here. I'm going to sign off. I'm going to TikTok, stay in there. I'm going to answer a few questions for you. All right, friends, I will be back tomorrow at 11 a.m. Tomorrow at 11 a.m. And it probably would make sense if I told you guys what I'm teaching. Tomorrow at 11 a.m. The thing that no one tells you about grief. The things that no one tells you about that grief will steal. Grief doesn't just take your person. It takes everything that came with them. Your laughter, your ability to sleep, your motivation, your sense of peace. Grief is a thief, and no one prepares you for how deep the loss goes. And that's what we're going to be talking about tomorrow at 11 a.m. All right, friends, I look forward to seeing you all tomorrow in Facebook, and I will see you there. TikTok, I'll be right there.